Good afternoon. I'm Sean O'Shea. I'm the Managing Director of the O'Shea Net Lease Advisory, which is a national net lease advisory based in Los Angeles, and we're affiliated with BRC Advisors and Sperry's new global commercial platform. I'm reversing roles here today with Chris Marabella. Many of you are familiar with Chris over the years of being one of the premier net lease lenders and sources for net lease deal solutions. What we wanted to explore today with Chris, when we deal with clients, they're often not prepared to really analyze the best debt solutions and best financing results. So I want to ask Chris at the outset, what are the issues that have an impact on a tenant and on an investor's return, and how do you finance things in the most effective way?
You know, Sean, a lot of times when clients come to me, normally they just are bringing properties, especially 1031 clients. So they're just out there, they have no strategy. And I think a better way to optimize your financing and have a better strategy is to try to figure out the characteristics of a net lease transaction, a net lease property that give you the optimized financing. One of those that we always look at, if we can get a minimum 15 to 25 year primary lease term. The other characteristic that we like is an investment grade tenant. Any tenant that has a BBB minus rating or better. Rental increases in this rate environment is always a good idea. That way, if the loan comes due, if it has a balloon later down the line, the client has a better possibility of underwriting with a minimum debt coverage. We want a net lease property with a clean bill of health on the environmental. You know, we'll look at the conclusion page up front, see what we're up against. And preferably a property that is in an area where you have 50 to 100,000 people in a 5-mile radius, and a good location that's dense with a lot of other retail around it, like Walgreens, CVS, Walmart. Just a very dense area where there's a lot of business taking place. The other characteristic, if you can get it, is the rent to sales. For quick service restaurants, that may be 7% or below. For pharmacies, that may be 5% or below. So if you can line up all those characteristics, when you come to me for debt, you're going to have a much better chance of optimizing your financing than if you get a property that has a real short lease and a bad credit rating in a small populated area. So like we talked earlier, I think the X is the property and the Y is the financing. So really the property determines the type of financing you're going to get in the end.
Chris, this is so terrific. What I really appreciate is your approach, because what you've just shared is such a valuable insight in terms of a successful loan execution. As you suggested, very often you have the property superimposed on you, and then you just try to do the best you can for the client.
Exactly.
And you'll end up debating or arguing fees. And we're in a similar position as net lease brokers, and we try to explain to people that we think these net lease properties are merely vehicles to accomplish their investment objectives. And so if we're able, with your help, to ask a series of questions at the outset, we might start the conversation looking at one property, one vehicle, and realize that that property really doesn't allow the investor to get what he's really looking for.
Exactly.
And to be able to restructure the deal, not because we're trying to sell them property A versus property B, or that you're trying to get them to loan source A or loan source B. But if we don't ask these hard questions up front and begin to manage the expectations of the investor, particularly if it's a 1031 where there's a timetable,
there's some risk involved.
Oh, tremendous risk.
Money risk as well as the deposit with the seller. So we're really mitigating the client's risk in a tremendous way.